Hello friends, welcome to the Point. In today's session, let's discuss about poverty. So in the previous sessions we have studied about the economic policies that India has taken in the past 7 decades and the outcome of those policies with relation to various developmental indicators. So providing minimum basic needs to people and reduction of poverty have been the major aim of independent India. The pattern of development that the successive 5-year plans envisaged, it laid emphasis on the upliftment of poorest of the poor, that is Antyodaya, integrating the poor into the mainstream and achieving a minimum standard of living for all. So we need to know where we stand today. Poverty is not only a challenge for India, as more than 1/5 of the world's poor live in India alone, but also for the world, where about 300 million people are not able to meet their basic needs. Poverty has many faces, which have been changing from place to place and across time, and it has been described in many ways. So most often, this poverty is a situation that people want to escape. So poverty, it is a call to action for the poor and the wealthy alike, a call to change the world so that many more may have enough to eat, adequate shelter, access to education and health, protection from violence, and a voice in what happens in their communities. Who are the poor? So we would have noticed that in all the localities and neighborhoods, both in rural and urban areas, there are some of us who are poor and some who are rich. So there are also people who belong to many stages in between. Pushcart vendors, street cobblers, women who string flowers, rag pickers, vendors and beggars. They are some examples of poor and vulnerable groups in urban areas. Poor people, they possess a few assets and they reside in kacha hutments with walls that is made up of baked mud and roofs it is made out of grass, thatch, bamboo, wood and so on. So in rural areas, many of them do not even have such dwellings, and in rural areas many of them are landless. Even if some of them possess land, it is only dry land or a wasteland, and many do not get even 2 meals a day. Starvation and hunger, they are the key features of poorest households. The poor lack basic literacy and skills, and hence they have very limited economic opportunities. Malnutrition is alarmingly high among the poor. Ill health, disability, or serious illness, it makes them physically weak. So these people, they borrow from money lenders who charge high rate of interest, and that lead them into chronic indebtedness. The poor are highly vulnerable. These poor people, they are not able to negotiate their legal wages from employers and they are exploited. Most poor households, they do not have even access to electricity. Their primary cooking fuel is firewood and a cow dung cake. A large section of poor people, they do not even have access to safe drinking water. And there is evidence of extreme gender inequality in the participation of gainful employment, education, decision making within the family and so on. Poor women, they receive less care on their way to motherhood, and their children are less likely to survive or be born healthy. Economists identify the poor on the basis of their occupation and ownership of asset. They state that rural people work mainly as landless agricultural laborers, cultivators with very small landholdings or landless laborers. who are engaged in variety of non-agricultural jobs and tenant cultivators with small land holdings. The urban poor, they are largely the overflow of the rural poor who had migrated to urban areas in search of alternate employment and livelihood. How are the poor people identified? If India is to solve the problem of poverty, it has to find viable and sustainable strategies to address the causes of poverty and design schemes to help the poor out of their situation. So in pre-independent India, Dadabhai Naoroji, he was the first to discuss the concept of poverty line. So he used the menu for a prisoner and used appropriate prevailing prices to arrive at what may be called jail cost of living. So only adults stay in jail, whereas in an actual society there are children too. So he therefore appropriately adjusted this cost of living to arrive at poverty line. In the post-independent India, there have been several attempts to work out a mechanism to identify the number of poor in the country. For example, in 1962, the Planning Commission it formed a study group, and in 1979, another body called Task Force on Projections of Minimum Needs and Effective Consumption Demand was formed. And in the year 1989 and 2005, expert groups were constituted for same purpose. So for the purpose of defining poverty, we divide people into two categories, the poor and the non-poor. And the poverty line, it separates poor and the non-poor. So there are many kinds of poor: absolutely poor, very poor, and the poor. Similarly, there are various kinds of non-poor: the middle class, the upper middle class, the rich, very rich, and the absolutely rich. Think of this as a line of continuum from the very poor to the absolutely rich, with the poverty line dividing poor from the non-poor. Categorizing poverty. So there are many ways to categorize poverty. In one such way, people who are always poor and those who are usually poor, but who may sometimes have a little more money. Example, casual workers. They are grouped together as a chronic poor. So another group are the churning poor, who regularly move in and out of poverty. Example, small farmers and seasonal workers. And the occasionally poor, who are rich most of the time, but may sometimes they have patch of bad luck. So they are called transient poor. And then there are those who are never poor, and they are non-poor people. The poverty line. So now let us examine how to determine the poverty line. There are many ways of measuring poverty, and one way it is to determine it by monetary value. Per capita expenditure of the minimum calorie intake that was estimated at 2400 calories for rural person and 2100 calories for a person in urban area. So based on this, in 2011-12, the poverty line it was defined for rural areas as consumption worth rupees 816 per person a month, and for urban it was 1000 rupees. Economists state that a major problem with mechanism is that it groups all the poor together and does not differentiate between very poor and the other poor. This mechanism takes into account expenditure on food and few select items as proxy for income. So this mechanism is helpful in identifying the poor as a group, it should be taken care of by the government. So there are many factors other than income and assets which are associated with poverty. For example, the accessibility to basic education, healthcare, drinking water, and sanitization. So the existing mechanism for determining the poverty line also does not take into consideration social factors that trigger and perpetuate poverty, such as illiteracy, ill health, lack of access to resources, and so on. So the aim of poverty alleviation schemes should be to improve human lives by expanding the range of things that a person could be and could do, such as to be healthy and well nourished. So from this point of view, development is about removing the obstacle to the things that a person can do in life, like illiteracy, ill health, lack of access to resources, or lack of civil and political freedoms. So there are various limitations in the official estimation of poverty. The scholars have attempted to find alternative methods. For example, Amartya Sen, who is a Nobel laureate, he has developed an index known as Sen Index, and there are other tools such as Poverty Gap Index and Squared Poverty Gap. What causes poverty? So the causes of poverty, it lie in the institutional and social factors that mark the life of the poor. The poor are deprived of quality education and unable to acquire skills which fetch better income. The main victims of caste, religious, and other discriminatory practices are poor, and this can be caused as a result of social, economic, and political inequality, social exclusion, unemployment, indebtedness, unequal distribution of wealth. And aggregate poverty is just the sum of individual poverty. And poverty, it is also explained by general economy-wide problems like low capital formation, lack of infrastructure, lack of demand, pressure of population, lack of social or welfare nets. You must have heard about the farmers committing suicide due to their inability to pay back the loans that they have taken for cultivation and other domestic needs, as their crops have failed due to drought or other natural calamities. So most members of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, they are not able to participate in emerging employment opportunities in different sectors of urban and rural economy. A large section of urban poor in India, they are largely the overflow of rural poor who migrate to urban areas in search of employment and a livelihood. Industrialization has not been able to absorb all these people. The urban poor, they are either unemployed or intermittently employed as casual laborers. So these casual laborers are among the most vulnerable in the society, as they have no job security, no assets, limited skills, and so on. So poverty, it is therefore closely related to nature of employment also. Unemployment or underemployment and the casual and intermittent nature of work in both rural and urban areas, it compels indebtedness, in turn reinforces poverty. Indebtedness, it is one of the significant factors of poverty. And a rise in the price of food, grains, and other essential goods at a rate higher than the price of luxury goods, it further intensifies the hardship and deprivation of lower income groups. The unequal distribution of income and assets, it has led to persistence of poverty in India. So all this, it has created two distinct groups in society: those who possess the means of production and earn good incomes, and those who have only their labor to trade for survival. And over the years, the gap between the rich and the poor in India, it has widened. Poverty, it is a multidimensional challenge for India that needs to be addressed on a war footing. Policies and programs towards poverty alleviation. The Indian Constitution and 5-year plan states social justice as the primary objective of developmental strategies of the government. The first 5-year plan, 1951 to 56. The urge to bring economic and social change under present condition, it comes from the fact of poverty and inequalities in income, wealth and opportunity. The second 5-year plan, 1956 to 61, it also pointed out that the benefits of economic development must accrue more and more to the relatively less privileged classes of society. The government's approach to poverty reduction, it was of 3 dimensions. The first one is growth-oriented approach, and it is based on expectations that effects of the economic growth, rapid increase in GDP and per capita income. So this was a major focus of planning in 1950 and early 1960s. In the previous sessions we have discussed about the overall growth and growth of agriculture and industry, which have not been impressive. Population growth, it has resulted in very low growth in per capita incomes. So the Green Revolution, it exacerbated the disparities regionally and between large and small farmers. So the second approach, it has been initiated from the third 5-year plan, that is 1961 to 66, and progressively it enlarged from then on. Most poverty alleviation programs implemented, they are based on perspective of 5-year plans. So expanding self-employment programs and wage employment programs, they are being considered as the major ways of addressing poverty. So examples of self-employment programs are Rural Employment Generation Programs, Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana and Swarna Jayanti Sahari Rozgar Yojana. So the first program, that is the Rural Employment Generation Program, it aims at creating self-employment opportunities in urban areas. Under this program, one can get a financial assistance in the form of bank loans to set up small industries. The educated unemployed from low-income families in rural and urban areas, they can get financial help to set up any kind of enterprise that generates employment under Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana. In Swarna Jayanti Sahari Rozgar Yojana, it mainly aims at creating employment opportunities, both self-employment and wage employment in urban areas. The Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana, this has now been restructured as National Rural Livelihood Mission. A similar program called National Urban Livelihoods Mission, it has also been in place for urban poor. There are 3 major programs that aim at improving the food and nutritional status of the poor are PDS, that is Public Distribution System, Integrated Child Development Scheme and Midday Meal Scheme. Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Gramodaya Yojana, Valmiki Ambedkar Awas Yojana, these are the attempts in developing infrastructure and housing conditions. So it may be essentially to briefly state that India has achieved satisfactory progress in many of the aspects. And the government, it has also variety of other social security programs to help a few specific group. National Social Assistance Program, it is one such program. It was initiated by the central government, and under this program, that is National Social Assistance Program, elderly people who do not have anyone to take care of them, they are given pension to sustain themselves, and poor women who are destitute and widows are also covered under this scheme. So the government, it has also introduced a few schemes to provide health insurance to poor people, and from 2014 a scheme called Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, it is available, in which people in India, they are encouraged to open bank accounts. So beside promoting savings habit, this scheme, it intends to transfer all the benefits of government scheme and subsidies to account holders directly, and each bank account holder is also entitled to 1 lakh accident insurance and 30,000 life insurance cover. We have traveled about 6 decades since independence. The objective of all our policies, it has been stated as promoting rapid and balanced economic development with equality and social justice. Poverty alleviation, it has always been accepted as one of the India's main challenges by the policy makers. The absolute number of poor in the country, it has gone down, and some states have less proportion of poor than even the national average. So there is improvement in terms of per capita income and average standard of living. But when compared to the progress made by many other countries, our performance is not impressive. So moreover, we can say that the fruits of development, it have not reached all sections of the population, and some sections of people, some sectors of the economy, some regions of the country can compete even with developed countries in terms of social and economic development. There are many others who have not been able to come out of this vicious circle of poverty. So see you all in the next session with some other interesting topic. Thank you.